Well, staying with BP, the stock is up in London trading today on yesterday's asset sale to Apache. For more on what's in store for the company, I want to bring in Gianna Bern. She's an industry analyst for oil companies and investors at Brookshire Advisory Research. Gianna, good to have you back on the program to talk about BP. And, one thing that some have, really pointed out is that the sale of these assets in Apache are all land assets. They're not offshore. What does that tell you about BP's strategy?
Well, I think first and foremost, it lifts, this another layer of uncertainty regarding BP and the viability of the company. It's in keeping with the strategy that they've laid out in the near term of divesting of what they call non-core assets to increase their liquidity. But these assets are, as you said, they are largely natural gas producing assets. I would characterize them as mature assets, and these assets are, I would say that they're a very good fit for Apache.
They're a good fit for them, but I want to get back to BP, though. I mean, it shows, does it not, that despite this Gulf spill, the company is committed to deep water drilling.
Well, that certainly is a large part of their portfolio and their strategy over the next decade, as the company has outlined. However, these assets are very mature assets. The company's strategy over the next decade is to focus on deep water drilling. I mean, as I always say in the industry, the low-hanging fruit in the industry is gone. For most of the integrated majors, and for BP, it will be, to a very considerable extent, offshore drilling, whether it be shallow water or deep water drilling.
Right, that is a big part of their business, no doubt. Gianna, they also noted that when they made this Apache deal, that they're looking at selling some assets still in Pakistan, in Vietnam, to raise that total to $10 billion. Aside from that, is there any chance that they might actually sell even more assets and raise even more money?
I think there is a good probability that they'll do so. That's in keeping with the $10 billion strategy, a $10 billion mark that they've outlined for divesting of non-core assets. That's exactly right. They've got assets in Asia. They've got assets in Venezuela, Colombia, the Pan-American assets in Argentina. It's what I would characterize that BP has dry powder left. So I would not be surprised to see more asset sales coming ahead as they begin to shore up their liquidity and give the market additional confidence that they're able to meet their obligations. Right,
but what was interesting was what wasn't sold, and what was talked about in the press quite a bit was the stake in the crude oil, the crude oil field in Alaska, and it seems like Apache and BP just couldn't come together on terms. How significant is that they couldn't do that?
I wouldn't give it, an inordinate amount of credence, but what I'd say is the situation in Prudhoe also involved other partners, and in those kinds of situations where you have a consortium that comes together, oftentimes you could have an ownership structure that can get fairly complex. You might have a situation where the owners, one of the other partners, has preemptive rights. So I could easily see the situation on the Alaskan assets could have gotten very complex, and if they're looking to try to close a transaction in short order, it probably was not going to happen in Alaska.
It could have been more complicated. Gianna, thank you so much. Good to see you again. Gianna Bern, the principal at Brookshire Advisory Research on BP.